welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Michelle Crisafulli. I am a first grade teacher in Central Florida, and today is Wednesday. So if you are new here, or even if you're not, I don't know how much of this I've told you. I am now a blended classroom. I teach students online at the same time I have my students in class. As of right now, I have 3 students online and 19 in the classroom. So it's a lot. It's a lot of logistics to keep up with. So I've been sharing ideas, and I'll continue to share ideas of things that we're doing and how I'm doing it. Just to give you guys a little update, I have 2 little friends who are now pushing buttons. One of my normal little friends, I've had him the whole time, but now he is starting to do things to push buttons. So we got a lot going on. I thought I would share with you this week tips for conferences, because I'm doing conferences this week, rather than just kind of breaking down what's going on this week. I guess I can share with you what's going on this week. We're not doing a whole lot of fancy stuff like, what we've been doing this week. We're doing some fairy tale stuff. And then we have a lot of testing this week for district stuff. So it's kind of one of those weeks where it's just, you're just trying to make it to the next week. We did a school-wide mock election yesterday, which was super fun for the students. They got to go up to a little voting booth, and they got to put in their vote and place their votes. And all of the students in the school got to participate, and my students were very excited. When the announcement was made, they thought it was the real thing today, and we had to have that conversation about how it could be a week or several more days, or who knows how long before we have a president in our country. But how interesting this process is, and how much fun it is, and how it is so meaningful and valuable. So that was some really great conversations. I'm just seeing all of this stuff on my floor, y'all. It's a mess in my room today. So we got to do that, and like I said, we're doing fairy tales, so we're comparing lots of different versions of fairy tales this week. And then in math, we had some math tests that we had to do. In reading, we actually had a reading test, but it didn't go so well, so I actually had to pull them over one-on-one. It's just the program that we use is on the computer, and on their iPads it just doesn't come up correctly, so it's frustrating. So I'm going to just call them over one at a time and do testing with them. And then we have a science test tomorrow as well. So lots of testing this week, nothing exciting. So because of that, I thought I would share with you what I've been doing for conferences. I'm trying to clean up and get ready for tutoring, because I tutor on Wednesdays. So I'm trying to kind of clean up at the same time, but I wanted to kind of go through what I'm doing for conferences. As far as this blended model in the classroom, you like my school shirt. I went to UCA. Go Bears. But as far as the blended model, I'm still using Microsoft Teams. I got a document camera on my computer instead of using this, because when you use the document camera, and ours is a Lumens, when you use it as a document camera, or when you use it as a classroom camera, you can no longer use it as a document camera. So anytime that I needed to do things with my students and show them or model it for them, I couldn't use a document camera, which is near impossible in first grade. You have to model everything, So I decided to I'm gonna shut this real quick. I decided to get a external camera, just so that I could use my document camera, and it's working out wonderfully. I use Microsoft Teams. So if I just go down through what I do in the morning, most of all of the activities that I do, I have on our virtual platform. So my students in here are doing them virtually, or they're doing them using their iPads, and then my students at home can go into their iPads. Because of the ease of Microsoft Teams, and I don't know how Zoom works or Google Meet or anything else, but with Microsoft Teams on the iPad, they can keep Microsoft Teams open. They can go into their other stuff and do their other stuff. I stay on in the background. They don't see me anymore, but they can still hear my voice. So when I'm ready to call them back, they hear me. which works out in the sense that when I need to do reading groups with them, I'll send them into centers on our platform. So I have centers kind of pulled up, and I'll be doing reading groups. And then when it's time for them to be in center, I will unmute myself, call one or two of my students back for reading groups, and then they sit over here with me on my laptop while I'm doing reading groups, and they do reading groups with me. And it's been working. Sorry, I had something on my screen. It's been working. I don't know how much longer it will work, because one of my students that's at home is kind of more reading for, or ready to read and do like book clubs. So I think I can do that with her. So I will open up Teams when I come in the morning, and we do a whole morning meeting and everything like normal. We do our reading lesson like normal. Then I send my students off to centers. I do reading groups. Then it's time for our specials. Come back from specials. We'll either do phonics / writing, phonics with writing, just writing. So it kind of depends, because our schedule is so wonky with everything, and we just kind of try to fit in what we can. And then we have our intervention time, which is more phonics. So I try to do a lot of our writing stuff during our writing time, and then we do more phonics. And then we have some extra time before lunch, which is only like 10 minutes. So we either finish off phonics, or I'll have them do some of their other stuff that they have on the computer. We have lunch, recess, come back for math. I do a 15-minute math whole group lesson, and then I send them to stack, which I have to fix, because now that I have 19 kids in here, I think our janitor's about to come in. Anyway, now that I have 19 kids in here, I have to split up my stack group smaller. So it's just a lot, y'all. But I do stack. When I do stack I try to do an hour, and then we can move into science in the afternoon. So that's kind of how it works. But my kids online do everything that these kids are doing. Sometimes they fly through activities and lessons super quick. So I try to let them do some of their other computer-based program stuff. But I'm still learning it. We're about a week and a half into going back to the blended model. So if you have any suggestions, please feel free to leave them below. But we are required to have them online with us bell to bell. So I keep my camera open bell to bell. The only time I turn my camera off is during our break time, and that's because we have meetings and stuff, and I don't want the students listening in on that. Plus they have to go into their specials area classes for their time, and then lunch. I'll turn the camera off for lunch, but other than that, the camera is on. So there's no option to like give them assignments and just have them work on assignments at home throughout the day. They can't do that. They have to be there for all the teaching, obviously. So it's just kind of a process to get through it. But I think we're doing good. I think we're surviving and we're making it. So I wanted to share with you how I'm doing conferences. So let me put you down, and I will flip some things around and show you how I'm doing conferences this week. So just 1 second. What I've done for conferences and how I ran conferences last night and tomorrow. So I sent out a Sign Up Genius with my time slots available, and then I just had parents sign up for the times that were convenient for them. Like most conference times, I had my time from after school. I had it every 15 minutes until I think 6:30 was my last one. We were allowed to do conferences either from our classroom, or we could go ahead and go home and do conferences from home. I chose to stay in my classroom because to me that was kind of what I wanted. I wanted to make sure I had everything I needed to hold the conference. So if a parent asked me a question, I could show them something. I didn't want to be at home and be like, oh, well, I'd have to send that to you tomorrow. So I just kept it in my classroom. And then when it was time for their conference, I just sent them a link to our virtual platform for their conference time, so that they just clicked the link and it opened right up. And I just sent those links through Dojo because all my parents are connected on Dojo. So what did I talk about? since it's virtual and it's a little difficult to have conversations with them and show them things, first of all, I sent home some school information that we had to send home, and then I sent home a packet that looks like this. I got this from a teacher friend, my first or second year teaching. She was a amazing teacher, still is, very dear friend of mine. She was national board certified and just amazing. So this came from her. This is the strategies that I use, and I just changed them with my clip art. But the strategies, that's the language I use instead of what's the ellipsis fish and the dolphin one and the eagle and the frog, what all of those are. I don't even know what they are. So this is the language I use, and this is just a quick explanation of parents. So I always send this home to them so that they're using the same language when their child comes to read. So we talk about that. And then I got this packet. This is from Primary Junction. Math skills at home. How to develop a reader at home. And then there's a spelling one too that I didn't send. And then this one's the writing one. So I just send home some ideas for them, things that they can do to help their child at home. That went home yesterday, and the rest of my students' ones will go home tomorrow. And then I have several conference forms. Now we have one with our school that where did I put it? That I cannot show you like the front part of, but a piece of it. Let me see if I can kind of shut this part off. So the top part has the child's name. And then it has their reading level. It has how many sight words they know for the first quarter, some iReady information, their goals, things that I want to work on with them, and then check off with those things discussed. I have several different conference forms that I have done over the years. Let me see if I can find some of them. I'll just try to link what I have, but I have this one that I've done over the years. I'll leave that up there for a second in case you want to see it. And again, I will link them. I don't know if I have all of these anymore. I have this one from a million years ago. And I just fill it out, and then I walk through it with the parents. I think that's all of them. Oh no, I have this one, which is a little bit different. Which is kind of the same as the other one, but I changed some things. Yeah. So I have just different forms that I've collected over the years, but I use the school one just so that there's consistency. And I just, I always start off by saying something positive. So no matter the fact that I'm in front of a camera or in person, I always start off with the positives about their child. And then I say, okay, so here's the things that we're going to work on. And I go through their scores and all of their information. I try to show them examples. So if they're not reading on grade level, I try to show them an example of what they are reading and then what they should be reading at this point in the year, which for us, it's a level DE. So that's like a 6 in DRA, I think. So I try to show them an example of what they are reading and where they should be so they can see that. I was planned on using my camera, my document camera, and doing the conference on my big screen, but I just felt it was a little too much. So I just held it up to the camera, and it was perfectly fine. And I said, now, what are some questions that you have? And we have those discussions. And, these are the things we're going to continue to work on. Can you help work on it? Things at home in this area. And I try to give them a few ideas. And then if they want more activities, pages, worksheets, that sort of thing, I just made myself a note, send home a packet of information. A lot of my parents are requesting more homework. But I don't like giving homework, number one, because there's a lot of science behind not doing homework before 4th grade. Number two, these kids are in masks all day right now, and they're exhausted by the time they get home. I want them to play and feel free and not have to worry about schoolwork. And number 4, a lot of my students their families are working, and so they work really late, and they don't have a whole lot of support at home to do homework. So I try not to give too much. I do have a homework calendar that I do require my kiddos to do, but I got that from Reagan Tunstall. I'll try to do that. But I do have parents that are asking for more homework, so in that case, I will send home some things because they would like to work on their child on some things. So I will send some things home for that case. But that's kind of how it goes. I go through, so let's see if I can cover this up. I go through their data folder with them, and I just walk through all the scores. I am glad I did these. I don't have my students doing it with me, but I do have their stuff together. So they do their iReady on one time, and then I got this set up from Keeping Up with Mrs. Harris. And there are bits and pieces that I like from it and stuff. So this is our math data, which I think this is a different packet. I can't remember because I have, like I said, I have it kind of bits and pieces. And then I have an ELA section. And then it's just like their goals, their reading levels and all that. And it's all on the different pages, but I'll link this as well. So all of their information is in their data folder, and it's already filled out. And so conferences are easy for me. I just pull out the data folder. Everything I try to keep up with pretty regularly. If I have to update anything, it doesn't take me very long. And I just have this right there ready for me to go so that I can go over some of that tangible information with them. And also talk to them about behaviors in the classroom, what I'm noticing, things that are concerns, or things, you know, to celebrate. So, you know, that's it. That's all I do. And then I just, you know, say goodbye and, you know, thank them for meeting with me, and that's it. This year so far, I've only had 6 kiddos yesterday, and I think tomorrow I only have 3. So out of my 22, I only have 9 that want to do a conference, which in an area where I'm at is pretty common. Parents are either embarrassed and they don't want to know things, but they don't want, especially right now, they don't want to do video conferences because they don't want to open up their cameras into their homes, which, you know, is understandable. So, or they're working families and they're not available to do conferences at that time. So it's kind of a disheartening because you want to say, you know, yes, this is the situation we're in, but we still need to make sure that we talk, and so that we're all on the same page, and it's a partnership. And you know, you want your child to be ready for 2nd grade. So you need to be able to meet with the child's teacher and make sure that you're all on the same page. So I don't know, it's a slippery slope. But that's how I do the conferences. So last night, my conferences, I used our district platform, and the sound kept shutting off, and then it kept kicking me out. So then I tried our Microsoft Teams, and the links wouldn't work correctly. So it was just a rough conference time. I definitely miss being able to meet with my parents and do those things. I will try to link all of my conference stuff that I have down below in the description down below. And then let me talk to you about what's going on for the rest of the week now. So tomorrow, I told you we have our science test. We did our math test today. So I'm going to pull up that data and see what we still need to work on, which I kind of already know. We're working on both equations on either side of the equal sign and balancing that out, and that's just really tricky for them. So we're going to continue to work on that. And we're moving on in math to story problems, which I love. I love doing story problems with them. It makes math time so much fun. All the different things that we can do. So we're moving on to that in math. We're doing our fairy tales. So tomorrow we're comparing the true story of the 3 Little Pigs to the 3 Little Pigs story. We've been talking about details in the pictures and details in the text all week, and then we're going to move on to comparing the 2 stories and seeing what the difference in the details is. We do fiction, so we rotate. In our district, we rotate like 3 weeks fiction, 3 weeks nonfiction, 3 weeks fiction. And so because our standards, there's only like 4, I think, or 5 standards for each thing. So for fiction, for nonfiction, it kind of goes back and forth, and the depth, you get deeper and deeper and deeper in depth as the year goes on. So right now we're back to fiction, which it's hard at Thanksgiving time. You want to do some of the more nonfiction tales, but there's some really cool fiction Thanksgiving stories. So this week I thought, well, we'll go ahead and do fairy tales this week because it's kind of a odd week anyway with all our testing. And then next week we're going to start talking about some more of the Thanksgiving-y stories. And I'm hoping to be able to do a reader's theater with them. Every year I do a Thanksgiving reader's theater for my families. And then we invite the parents up and they get to have Thanksgiving lunch, and it's just a big fun thing. Obviously this year we can't invite the parents up to the school, but I want to record it and send it out to them, or maybe do it live or something. I don't know. So we'll start working on that next week, because we only have 3 weeks until Thanksgiving. So we have, you know, tomorrow and Friday, and then 2 more weeks, right? Yeah. So, and then 2 more weeks. So it'll be fun to do that. So that's my plan. I don't know if I have a copy of my reader series that I use, but I'll try to talk more about that in a future video. And then science, I think, is talking about Earth structures, which is a horrible time of year to try to fit that in science, but we'll do what we can. I love, love, love after we come back from Thanksgiving, because we spend a lot of time on comparing the gingerbread stories, and then we're back to nonfiction, so we do a ton of close reading on holiday traditions around the world. I love it. It's so much fun. It's a way to incorporate the season without directly bringing in and having the students, which they will anyway, bring up Santa. But it's my favorite time of year, y'all. So I can't believe this year is going by so quickly. I feel like I just started school, and now already we're just a couple weeks away from Thanksgiving break, and then we come back and we're a couple weeks away from Christmas break. So it feels like it's flying by. So with that being said, I have to go pick up my tutoring kids in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to get set up for tutoring, and I will check in with you guys tomorrow. Bye.